Welcome guys to KK's Entertainment University Night Edition. It won't be night every time, but it's night today. So grab your tea, grab your snacks, and we're gonna get started. My name is Kadeja. I'm owner, CEO, founder of Red Velvet Productions, where I give you a lot of entertainment tips and things of that nature, editing tips, all that stuff to help you be successful in your entertainment journey. Okay, let's get started. KK's University, Entertainment University, is where we usually talk about a celebrity typically or a topic to help you be a little more successful. Because sometimes you just need inspiration and need a story to help you be motivated. You know, storytelling is a beauty, a form of communication that is needed to help us. Today, we're gonna be talking about Playboi Carti.
In New York, I merely rock, hiding in my socks, running from a up, and I shoot at up. With a thoughts, fuck, she just wanna fuck me for my clouds. Fuck, bitch, I'm off the lean, I crashed the Audi. Fuck, I just made
Playboi Carti's story is unique to me because it just shows how you can jump into one era and move to the next, because a lot of things you see in artists or whatever you see is a lot of artists stick to one era and then they just never go nowhere. Like it's always the SoundCloud rap era forever. Like they're not going nowhere. So we're gonna have this university in 3 sections. I want you to grab something so you can write down notes and stuff as we get a little bit into how he got successful. We'll talk a little bit about like his background and then like go from there. Okay. So disclaimer, you know, I am a beginner in my research and I love tips. So if you have any tips or any research, you know, methods that you know, please comment down below because girl wants to know. So, and if you want more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and comment and share with your mama, your grandma, your great grandmother, I don't know, whoever. So let's get started. So Playboi Carti, known also as Jordan Terrell Carter, was born September 13th, 1996. Now, I don't really know because some resources said he was born in 96. Some resources says 95. So he's probably in his late 20s right now. Okay, that's what we're gonna assume. So he is from Georgia, Riverdale, Georgia, or he's mainly from Atlanta from what I've heard and what I've seen of his things. And you know, he's always, you know, wanted to do music. From what I've gathered is that like he really did his own thing. Like he didn't really like go to school like that. He kind of didn't listen to nobody, and he kind of like was working and also making music, and he kind of just was really grinding on that instead of really focusing on school so much. So I think when he just graduated high school, he moved to New York and he knew some people out there. They were friends of ASAP Rocky, and they kind of like all like mixed together, and that's how he became Playboi Carti. Another thing that we learned about him is that he is not really on social media. Like Playboi Carti does not post. I think I followed him, or I still follow him. When he don't ever post. Like we don't see nothing. So he really don't be, and I think he says that too, like he be staying out the way, like he really is not on social media like that. Or if he is, we just never know. Like he's not really like into the media world like that, like other artists are, you know, that share their whole lives. But with him, he's not really on there. He's not afraid to experiment. He loves fashion. He's always loved fashion. He is not afraid to experiment with fashion. He's just not afraid to, he's really not afraid to really do anything. And I think that's really one thing about Playboi Carti we should learn. What are some tactics or branding things that is interesting about Playboi Carti, or like what are some things that he does that really makes a stand? So kind of going back off of he doesn't really do the social media thing that much. He has a very strong presence in music. His music makes a statement. He focuses, and there's something else I read, he focuses on communicating with his voice. So, you know, a lot of people in music or in artistry, they focus on something particular. Like, people are known for their lyrics, their voice, their play of words, their, you know, presence. Playboi Carti is known for his voice, because we make fun of him because we don't be knowing what the hell he's saying half of the time. He just be mumbling, or he just be going high and deep. And then recently, especially last year, you know, when, you know, Carnival came out, and other songs, changed his voice to a deep voice from a baby voice. And the thing is, he uses what he's known for and uses it to his advantage. He plays on that, he focuses on that, because we don't care about his lyrics. We don't really care about the music that much. We just care about, it's always, when we hear his voice, we notice. That's what Playboi Carti is known for, is his voice. Like, maybe his fashion and his aesthetic, but he's really known for his voice and what he talks about. His goal in music, and I think this is a goal a lot of people are listening to, his goal is to make you feel something. The way he communicates his music is why he's successful, because the music is about, how does it make you feel? Now, do I agree with everything that Playboi Carti says that makes, you know, I listen to his music sometimes, and the way it makes me feel is not always positive, I'm not gonna lie, but it makes me feel something. It may make me feel a little bit of rage, or I may feel a little angry, you know, but it makes you feel, and it's a very strong emotion. And that's why music is, and you got to be careful with music sometimes. But I'll say, like, I think that's why he's such a strong person in the game, is because his music, even if we don't understand what he's saying, even if we don't get what he's saying, or even if we don't even connect with the lyrics that much, his voice and the way his sound and communication makes you feel is a powerful thing. People are raging, yelling, because that's what it makes you feel. His music makes you feel like that. There's a feeling to it. So I think that's important to note about that. I think another thing with his presence is, your music is something that needs to be talked about. Because one thing I realize is controversy wins over everything. Now, I'm not saying, you know, like, everyone has great music, you know, anyone could have great music, but I think the people that stand out the most is the music that people don't always agree with. The music that people are either questioning or not really feeling, because the thing is, people are going to listen to it because they're going to critique it, they're going to talk about it, and it's always something, you know, people are going to be like, oh, this sucks, that sucks, that. And I think Playboi Carti does a very strong thing with that. And it's funny because he does it in a way, he doesn't even use social media like that. So with Playboi, he literally just, I think his music speaks for himself. I think that's really interesting to say, that he doesn't really use social media to do that. His music is controversial. If you say something that's a little like, then people are gonna start being like, questioning you a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's what Playboi Carti music, like, some people, they care about it, you know, some people think it's terrible and some people love it, you know. And I think that's what keeps his music going, is because if it's nothing to talk about, then people are probably not going to really listen to it as much. You know, there's artists out there that have great music, there's artists out there that have, you know, music that's very, you know, it's good, but if it's not really much to talk about, or people are like, oh, that's, you know, then, you know, most likely it's not going to really stand out, because it doesn't really make anyone question anything. So I think his music has an opinion to it, which is something interesting. You know, Playboi Carti is not afraid to experiment with music, and he's not afraid to perfect his craft. You know, I think with artists, some people just kind of stay the same, or they kind of stick. You can think about an artist that kind of just sticks to what they know, which is not bad, but you may have a loyal audience, but you're probably not going to get a new audience, because your loyal audience may stick with you, but that new audience, it'll be a little bit harder for a new audience to grow, because, you know, if they was messing with you, they would already been with you, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, Playboi Carti just isn't afraid to experiment. We see with Young Thug, like, he was one of the, you know, he was a big, you know, change in the game with his voice. You know, he didn't understand half the shit he was saying either. But I think it's interesting to note that Playboi Carti just isn't you can tell he just don't listen to nobody. He just don't care, and he's experimenting and not afraid to take the criticism, because that first helps him get better, that helps him get more attention. The second to last one, and I think this is probably the most important one, is time was on his side. So let's go back to it. We know the SoundCloud rap era, okay? We all know it too well. You know, think about who is still popping in that era and tell me, and don't, using the term fall off is not someone that maybe made it, you know, when I mean fall off is someone that literally you haven't heard in like at least 2 years. Now if it's somebody that has still been relevant and they have made music, they don't count, because I think people have a definition of, oh, they fell off. I said, just because you haven't heard them in a while, or just because you haven't seen, doesn't mean they exactly fell off. It's just maybe they're going through a transition. I think Playboi Carti, I think we saw the signs and the hints with Playboi Carti. The reason I say that is because, you know, Playboi Carti, he had his Die Lit album, and that was in 2018. He's literally dancing with a lot of people that are in punk and rock, which that already, it was giving, I think the thing is, Carti was giving us like little small gems and hints that he was going to get into that change, because he really changed drastically in 2020, but I don't think he changed really drastically. I just think he gave little hints with his fashion, you know, kind of 2018, 2019 Carti, it kind of to see the man was about to transition into something. We didn't know what it was going to be, but he was going to transition. And I think he already always had that thing going. I just think it just, sometimes time, it takes time to let your fans and people kind of get used to it. He took the time to rebrand himself. And sometimes you need to take time and take step backs to rebrand yourself. And I think that's what Playboi Carti did. He just kind of let himself, he gave you little spats, like he dancing with rock people, you know, his music a little bit different. He dancing, we all dancing. But then 2020, whole lot of pop. Then we like, who the hell is this, you know? But it was coming. Like, I think when you look back at it, it was coming. The last thing is he went into other avenues, you know. Playboi Carti, he does fashion. He has his own label, Opium, which is interesting name, but yeah, makes sense. Because let's be honest, Playboi Carti is in his late 20s. Now, there is nothing wrong with doing music in any age, but for the music he does, like, he does a lot of punk rock. Sorry, I don't know. He did, you know, his music is very like punk rap, like rage rap, mumble rap, like kind of all that. And typically that more serves a younger crowd. And it's hard to do something like that in your 40s and even 30s. I'm not saying you can't make music like that. I'm just saying, like, you got to understand your crowd and you got to understand what you're doing. So he is smart to go to other avenues to continue seeing himself as relevant, but also making money. What can we learn from this? Now, this is for anyone that's really in entertainment. It doesn't have to be artistry. It doesn't have to be music necessarily, but how can you know, what can we learn from Playboi Carti that even you don't have to like him, you don't have to like him as a person, you don't have to like his music, but you can respect his grind and you can respect his craft and respect that he really did get pretty far. The first thing you can learn from this is social media is important, but it's not as important as you think. The reason I say this is quality over quantity. Because social media, I think, is important so you can build yourself and build a brand. But when you're just posting stuff and it has no aesthetic or it makes no sense. It can be really hard for your audience to follow what you're going. I'm not saying, I mean, you have to be consistent and you have to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. But I think obsessing over social media and overthinking it is, you're not, Playboi Carti ain't even on social media and he's still popping. That's almost unheard of. Like, you gotta promote. Playboi Carti ain't gotta really do that because we know he's Playboi Carti. But I think what we can learn is use social media as a tool, but don't let it consume your whole life. So maybe post videos that matches your brand and your aesthetic. The next thing that we can learn from this conversation is create more than you consume. I think this can be said for anything, but one thing that I saw in an article, Playboi Carti talked about how he really doesn't really listen to many people and he really just focuses on his craft. I think it's important to learn from others so you can find things to learn for yourself and to get inspiration. But when you do that all the time, your ideas start becoming their ideas and there's no authenticity in your craft. So I think it's important that you consume to learn a little bit, but don't consume more than you create. Create more than you consume. So focus on your craft and let the rest happen. Maybe consume every week, once a week, or find time consistently to, learn, but don't do too much. Okay. The next thing we can learn is do not be afraid of change. The reason why most artists for example, SoundCloud rappers have not left that era and they're not as successful as they used to be is because they stuck to what they knew. Things change, generations grow up, eras change. An era will never last forever. There is never such thing as something lasting forever. Nothing lasts forever. So think about that. I want you to be someone that's kind of in the future, but in the past at the same time. So learn from the past. Be like, okay, what worked here? And then see, because you can kind of see where life is heading sometimes when it comes to music or your entertainment. For example, like we're going into AI. We're going to more VR, emerging technology, emerging medias. We're going to a lot of more 3D, 4D reality type stuff. So I don't know if that helps you in any way, but think about that. Like, think about how music is going to change. Think about how artistry is going to change. Think about how the entertainment industry is going to change. So I want you to consider those things and think about, well, in Playboi Carti, he knew change was going to happen. He just found a way to do it. And I think that's the thing, is don't be afraid to rebrand yourself. Don't be afraid to take time to rebrand. That's why quality over quantity. You can do things and mess up. It's okay. Do it while nobody knows you. Or if they do know you, we'll still do it anyways, because when you get bigger, it can be a little harder to change sometimes because people are a little more used to you because of how big you already are. My next tip for you is to find something that you want people to know you for. You can be known for different things, but I think focusing on a craft, for example, Playboi Carti, he's known for his voice. He's known for that voice and that baby voice that he does. Are you known for your lyrics? Are you known for the beats that you produce? Are you known for the music? Are you known for your voice? Are you known for your fashion? Now, once again, I'm not saying you can't go into other avenues, and that's actually my next tip. Focus on one thing a little bit more than the others, so people can find a aesthetic for you, okay? And the last tip is go into other avenues. Don't stick to just one thing, because this is something I will say that's gonna happen in the future. And it's not that it's not gonna happen, it's happening right now. For example, AI. AI is taking a lot of low-level jobs. Is grocery stores, things, grocery stores like retail, all those things, because all they're gonna do is, I mean, it doesn't really take much to do those things. Like, you know, that's why we have self-checkouts or a lot of technology people are doing, because after a while they're not gonna need humans to really do it. So what I'll say to you is, you probably need skills to do anything. I could recommend is focus on one thing maybe for 6 months to a year, and then after that you start building. Because if you think about it, you know, let's just say you're a singer. You sing for 50 years. You could do that, but your voice is, you know, you're getting older, your voice is not doing well, you know? Your voice just ain't as strong as it used to be. You know, you can't move your body as you used to. All these things. It's not about it, oh, your age, it's just your body ages with you. So getting to other avenues like Playboi Carti did, he has his own record label, you know? He has his own, you know, clothing line. All in all, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope you got some good notes and you learned some lessons. And I see you next class. Class dismissed.